Lindsay.
Yes.
Do you remember when we used to go over to the Williamson County Regional Animal Shelter every single week?
Don't remind me. It makes me so sad.
I know. It was before all this COVID stuff. We could go visit the puppy dogs.
But it was really fun. We would go pick a dog who maybe was in the shelter a little too long and make a really fun, silly video about the dog and then send it out and try to get him adopted.
And we had a pretty good success rate. They were going to foster homes and just going to forever homes left and right.
It was just fun to do something like out of the office and play with dogs once a week.
Yeah. And something helpful, something useful.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that too, I guess.
And I just love the creativeness. I miss seeing the videos, seeing what crazy thing y'all come up with.
They were fun.
So anyway, we haven't been doing that.
Yeah, and I had an idea. I reached out to Misty, who
was it your idea?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay.
So I reached out to Misty, and she was our contact.
So we get to talk to Misty about what her business has been like throughout, this pandemic.
Yeah. Everything changes, even the animal shelter.
Yeah, what is it like at the animal shelter right now? So it should be interesting.
Things have been wild. Let's check in with Misty here in a little bit. Who are we going to have sponsored this episode?
How about Go Power?
Go Power! You should see my cheerleader arms right now.
Well, if you really want to unplug and go off-grid with your RV adventures, look into Go Power for all your solar and lithium-ion needs. Go Power's complete charging and power delivery systems just work. Charge your batteries anywhere the sun is shining with Go Power solar kits. Stay out there longer with reliable lithium-ion batteries. Operate your appliances with robust inverters. Go Power doesn't just make components, they also make complete systems that just work, and you can do it.
Whether you're a weekend warrior or a boondocking full-timer, Go Power solar kits, inverters, chargers, and batteries are the leading choice for dependable power, wherever your adventure takes you. Their batteries even carry a 10-year warranty. Tons of time to have amazing adventures.
Go Power even has learning resources and project planning information on their website for people like me who need to learn.
So check out Go Power at gpelectric.com.
That's gpelectric.com for any part of your off-grid electrical needs.
Go Power!
Well, once again, welcome to the podcast. We are your hosts from Princess Craft RV. I'm Clint.
I'm Lindsay.
And I'm PJ. And thanks so much for joining us today. Don't forget to subscribe and share the RV Small Talk podcast with your friends. And please leave us a review for the podcast in your favorite podcast player or app.
Now on with the show.
Wait, you get to say that?
I don't. Well, you were staring at me and there's nothing else to say.
Hey, why don't we just go on with the show, okay, guys? Come on, puppies are waiting.
Misty's here.
Nice.
Hey, Misty. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Thank you so much for having me. I love hanging out with you guys.
Misty who? Misty from where?
Well, I don't know. Misty, where are you from?
Well, I'm from the Williamson County Regional Animal Shelter. I'm with the shelter that y'all partner with and help us get dogs adopted.
It's fun, we must admit.
Yeah, the best part of our week before COVID, pre-COVID, PC?
Yeah.
Pre-COVID.
Now, Misty, it's been wild here at the dealership, obviously, and we haven't been over to your location to see how things are going. Can you catch us up what it's been like for the past few months with COVID going on at your shelter?
It is like nothing we have ever seen before. When it first kind of really arrived and took hold, we asked for our fosters to come out because we had no idea how this would affect the shelter. And they came out so heavily. The shelter was the most empty I have ever seen it.
Yay.
Ever seen it.
Uh-huh.
And we have been able to manage to keep our numbers low since then. So have been
such good. I just have to say that is such good news.
It's amazing
because we get such bad news all across the board, of difficult things happening and how this affects everything negatively. That is just amazing.
So people are showing up and taking animals, how many of these fosters
Are keeping them?
Yeah. I mean, it's been a few months. So do you have like, it's turning into people just keeping them?
Absolutely. And if not them, it's like a family member or a friend
falls in love
that's
with them.
part of their like pod or bubble that falls in love with them, and they get adopted within that, little family unit or friend unit.
Right.
Yeah. It's
that's
phenomenal.
What a lesson learned. I mean, does this make you kind of have a light bulb go off of there must be a way to capitalize on this in normal times? I mean,
I think it's always been there, but there's never been a spotlight to it like it was, where the whole nation really came together for the animals, because it wasn't just our area. It was across the nation. Animal shelters were seeing this phenomenon of folks coming in and wanting to help and bring cats and dogs home. And so I think for that moment in time, all the animal shelters kind of came together and had this one voice and asked for help at one time, and it reached so many people.
Right.
why do you think
phenomenal.
that is? Why do you think that is?
Why is it resonating?
Why is it now instead of, 6 months ago?
I think the first thing was people being asked to like stay at home or not go out as much. I think especially for those, needing that companionship, the extroverts of, our society, needing someone to talk to, they found that companionship. They found that love by bringing in a shelter animal. And something that maybe they thought they couldn't manage before because, maybe they work 12 hours a day at the office.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
People not having time for an animal,
Right.
it seems like one of the number one excuses to not get a pet, which is a totally valid excuse.
Or to give up a pet.
Yeah,
Yes.
you need to have time for that animal. And then all of a sudden, everybody had time. So without that as an excuse, it's like, all right, the shelters need our help. We have extra time.
It was kind of a perfect storm of
For shelter pets.
horrible
Yeah.
things that came together to make this positive
Yeah.
thing, because we weren't accepting new volunteer applications. So we weren't asking for help on campus. We were asking for you to help at home.
Take the dogs off campus.
So you could limit the number of people taking care of them, right?
Absolutely.
Now, was this the same phenomenon across the board? Dogs, cats, different breeds? Did you see it completely across
Puppies,
the
old
board?
senior dogs.
Yeah.
Newts? Do you have any newts? I will take
Apparently,
one.
Clint wants one. I need to put him on our list.
Yeah, just if one you find a stray somewhere.
Oh, you know me.
stray.
Every time I come in there, I have to stop at the bunnies.
A non-microchip newt. It's yours next time he comes in.
Sweet. I'm down.
What are you going to name them?
Oh,
Newt?
it needs to be an alliteration name. I think it needs like Ned the Nude or something like that.
Okay.
Oh, wait for it.
I don't know.
Okay.
I have nothing. I'm just.
What about bunnies? Do you have any bunnies?
Not right now.
Ugh.
I know. Bunnies are your thing.
I don't even know why they scratch you.
Well, one of the things that I know in the past you've had trouble with is you have so many pit bull mixes that, I think people get them. They think they're cool. They grow up. They figure out they can't run an apartment easily. They get all kinds of issues. Has that been a problem with fosters?
That's a systemic issue for sure. And it's one of the reasons we don't breed label anymore. And that we, we focus on the residences that don't have that discrimination. And so if someone is, moving and needs help finding a place with, him and his 2 dogs, we have resources where we can send them to find a place that doesn't have discrimination policies.
Wow. I didn't know that. So if I'm trying to move and I'm like, I may have to give up my dog, and you say, wait.
Right.
Let me
We've got
help you find a place.
Realtors that have reached out to us and said that, we'll help. And
See, this is a twist I hadn't.
I never even thought about this.
Well,
Right.
because as a shelter, you guys obviously know that is one of the big problems. So,
And,
over
I mean,
so much time of hearing it, like
it
you have
might
solutions now.
grow
Right.
depending on the housing crisis that we are just right on the edge of in animal welfare. We've been really focusing our attention on what are we going to do when the evictions start going through the courts? What are we going to do? If that
Right.
means
That's
a high
right.
increase in
That's right.
animals.
Do you have any ideas on how to handle that?
I mean,
Is there a temporary foster program where you could temporarily leave a dog with you while I find a place to live?
not present, like not right now.
Okay.
We, asked to reach out to friends and family. There might be some like third-party nonprofits that can help and get involved.
Like APA or something? Would they help with that?
I don't think they do boarding there, but there's the fans of Williamson County Regional Animal Shelter. They're a nonprofit that kind of helps people in financial need. And so let's say that you're moving and you need to board your animals. While they can't pay for that, they can help pay for the pet deposit in your new place. So instead of
Really?
saving or instead of using those funds to get your pet deposit, use it to get them boarded somewhere and then reach out to fans of Williamson County Regional Animal Shelter to get that pet deposit paid. So there's different ways to work at it.
Wow. So the lesson actually for all of those who don't live in our vicinity is reach out. You are a county funded shelter. And Williamson County is a no-kill shelter. You have to, and a county shelter, correct me if I'm wrong, has to take anything anybody drops off.
As long as it's in our jurisdiction, we are their support.
You have to take whatever anybody brings to you. But it might be worth calling, if you're in a fix with a pet, it might be worth calling to see if they have any resources to help you, maybe with a pet deposit, maybe in anybody who could help you with, temporary housing or with your pet, anything like that.
Yeah.
It's worth a call to the county because a good county shelter will have resources.
Right. It's so true.
Wow.
It's so
Wow.
different from the past where we were the pound, right?
Yeah, that's the thought, is that you just
Right.
drop something
we're-
off and
we're here to be.
No, your name is much longer.
so it isn't like adopting a child where you sign away rights, you walk away, and the world changes.
Right. You can
Is
come
that a
back and
dark
ask
turn?
questions.
But people do think of that as the pound.
Right.
If I drop off, then I mean, if I have a problem, my only choice is to drop off a puppy and
Right.
walk away.
Right.
And sometimes you have to do that.
And sometimes you do. And sometimes there's really, unfortunate circumstances where that is your choice. And that's
Yeah.
a horrible place to be in. And we're there for that. But we're not just that, but we're also services for the whole family. We're not just here for the cats and the dogs. We're here for the whole family. So if, the dog needs help learning how to play with the kids, give us a call. We can give you tips. Don't call us when you're at the end of the rope. Call us during the journey so we can help you through it.
Yeah.
What an interesting concept. I've spent a lot of time with your shelter, and I guess I just never thought of it that way.
It's
It's a resource.
It's a resource. It's absolutely a resource.
Well, I think, folks, we are figuring out why Misty is now the director at Williamson County Shelter.
I mean, can you use a term, let the cat out of the bag with the shelter? Okay.
Yeah, we can. We totally can.
No cats in bags.
crazy. That's right. That's right.
they prefer boxes.
Yes, true. Boxes.
What about
Empty
this
boxes.
tote?
Cat in a
Little
box.
tiny boxes that their fat bodies should not fit into.
I fits, I sit.
Yes, if I fits, I sit.
So what's it like physically at the shelter nowadays? Because it was a bustling place,
Right.
and all that. I'm sure the dynamic, because the scheduling has to change so much. What is
Right.
it like there? And then I guess my follow-up question is, what's it like for a visitor coming to meet pets?
We've done a lot.
Yeah.
We've had to really pivot, and programs that I was working on in my last position, but they were kind of not mainstream. They were a little on cutting edge, and not everyone was down for it. Like, suddenly, like, they're the way to do things now.
They were the thing.
They just
were
got
the
jumped
things
to the top.
do. Yeah, that they got on top of the list. Because I was the technology person of the leadership team. So I was like, look at this new technology. Look at this. Look at this. And everyone's like, yeah, no one's going to use that. And now
everybody uses it.
Everyone uses it.
Zoom meetings, people will use these ideas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we got to keep going, right?
Right.
We can't shut down. We never shut down during all of this.
Well, someone has to feed the animals.
Exactly.
You
We
can't, like-
pivoted. We did
Yeah.
things differently, but we never shut down. So our staff is in 2 different teams, an A team and B team, so they can't interact with each other. So if one team gets
Is it like
sick,
girls versus boys?
well, there is some verses. But
Hi.
yeah. Who can make the cat beds fluffier?
That's so funny. That is so funny.
So there's that, to keep the animals safe, because that's our primary concern. And we reached out to volunteers to be care volunteers. So not volunteers to come in and just walk dogs and pet cats, but who would come in and help clean and feed if we were in that state. So recruiting new types of volunteers. And then rethinking our whole processes. So now we have a scheduling software that you can schedule your adoption appointment. You can schedule your fostering appointment. If you found a stray, you can reach out to us. We can give you resources. If you need to schedule a time to bring that guy in, you can.
So you're by appointment only.
Yeah. We
Very
are.
interesting.
So does your phone ring a lot more, but there's less people walking through the door?
Yes. So there's a lot more phone calls. There's a lot more emails. Our fosters have gotten really good at virtual meet and greets.
Oh,
so
that's
what's that
great.
like? Do you
Zoom
still go
with a
into the
cat.
room and just
With an
like,
animal. Who knew? The new world.
yeah, it's totally new. We got to
think
be
that's great,
creative
though.
and different.
how do
And-
you feel like having less people around the shelter, visitors, workers, everything? Do you feel like the dogs act differently?
I think some are a bit more relaxed because there is not as much hustle and bustle. But then we have those energy dogs who are like, I mean,
I have
they're
energy
ready
no
to
matter
go.
what.
Yeah, I have energy no matter what.
Gotta
Here I
run,
go.
gotta
But it
run,
somewhat
gotta run.
helps that there are fewer in number on site as well.
Sure. Absolutely.
So that's another component to them maybe being more relaxed.
Right, because for staff hours, we are not having as many hours on site just because of the nature of the schedule. And so having less animals means we can still give them the quality of care that we want to give.
Yes.
Lives are not at stake because of COVID. We can still save their lives. We can still give them the care that they need. As long as we have the adopters coming and the fosters coming.
What about strays? Are you getting more strays now or less? Or the same?
That's a great question. For a while, we were closed to friendly, healthy strays while we were trying to empty out the shelter and go from over capacity
Right.
to a workable
Because you didn't know that this
number.
was, going to happen. So.
Right. Exactly. We had no clue what was in our future.
Right.
And so we've opened up that now, and we will take in strays, but we're offering, again, this shelter has like upped its technology in a lot of ways, and we are using sites like Finding Rover is a site where you can upload a picture of either your lost animal, dog or cat, or your found animal, dog or
Okay.
cat. And it uses facial recognition to make a match.
Quit it.
Oh,
Right?
no.
Isn't that
That's
cute?
crazy.
That's so cool.
So we're telling, because we have found that for dogs, they wander maybe 2 miles away from their home. And depending on where you live in the county, it's going to be a longer drive to come to the shelter. So we say, put their photo up on here, see if it's a match, or if your neighborhood has a Facebook group or next
Is
door.
it called Finding Rover?
Finding Rover.
We should put that in the show notes.
Okay, done.
And that's like all over
Super
the
cute.
country, right?
All over
just
the
like-
country.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah.
FindingRover.com?
.com.
Cool.
Yeah. And then we're using ReHome.com. So if you are in that state where you've decided, this isn't really the right home for this animal, instead of bringing him to us, you become the adoption counselor.
Well, that is putting this animal dilemma back in the hands of the people instead of everybody just dumping it on the county and saying, not my
and then
problem.
you have a part of that journey.
Yeah.
So you know that dog or cat way more than I'm going to know that animal in 5 days, right?
Yeah.
You spent months and months or years and years with that animal. You post them, they get posted up to adoptapet.com like any other shelter pet. People are browsing through there. If they click on it, they talk to you.
Right.
So you can screen them, you can talk about their needs, and they go straight from home to home. No shelter involved.
Without that pass through the shelter, and the shelter does incredible work and on the behalf for the animals, but to not have to go through that environment in that situation is better, really.
So much better for the animal.
Yeah.
I mean, not only for our county taxes and the resources for animals that don't have that option, but wow.
Right.
Better, so
Stress
much better
reduction.
than putting an animal in a cage.
Absolutely. For rehoming and for strays. Because if you bring us a stray, we're going to immediately put them in a kennel. Whereas it could be your neighbors just 3 houses down where you go on a simple walk and he's home. Right?
I mean, wow. Who knew that this would be such a game changer? Do you think that these changes are happening to other shelters across the country?
I believe so. Because we're all having to pivot and rethink how we do things. And part of that pivot was decreasing our intake so that way we could split up staff in case something happened.
And doing it in a way that makes sense to the animals.
Right.
Doing it in a way that makes sense to how society ought to work. Not to get too philosophical, but really, if you own an animal and something is not going well, a little effort to help yourself before you turn to the county would be so much more beneficial.
Right. And
very cool.
It takes that weight off of your shoulders too. I've talked to folks who know that's the next step and feel awful because they know their dog or cat is going to go sit in a kennel. And I tell them that doesn't have to happen.
Yeah.
You are part of that journey. You're part of that next step. And it takes this guilt off of them because they're finding their next spot, their better place.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's a misconception that people who have to drop their animal off at the county shelter are bad pet owners?
Oh, totally. Absolutely. I think that's part of us being human. We have to assign blame somewhere, right?
Right.
And, there's so many things that lead to that decision, whether it's, economics or illness or just job growth or loss or there's so much to it.
Right.
And, I truly believe that everyone's trying to do the best that they can for their animals. Sometimes people don't know, like they don't know about resources. They don't know even what questions to ask. And that's why we're here. So it's not that they're doing something bad or wrong. They just don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know you run into, hoarding situations and abuse situations, but by and large, people want to be good pet owners.
Absolutely.
So, wow, what a great turn. To get back to something happy. I mean, what a great turn to have shelters rethink. How can we do this easier and better for all of us?
Exactly. Yeah. And it's a totally new way of volunteering for the shelter. That I see it as you see a stray dog, having that moment, taking that second to post them on Facebook or Nextdoor or Finding Rover. That's all volunteering for the shelter. That's doing good. Even though you're not holding that title or anything, you're still...
It's completely aligned with the mission.
Absolutely. You're still doing that community service.
Well, we see so many new RVers right now who they didn't necessarily think, oh, I wish my lifelong dream is to have a trailer and go traveling. But all of a sudden, COVID hit, they're restless. They're like, okay, this is not going away. I need to figure out how to travel, but I can't leave my pet behind.
Absolutely.
So can you give some quick advice for the new guy who says, I think I want to travel with my pet? Well, that can be traumatic for pets and
New RV,
owners,
new
or
dog.
dangerous
or scary.
Yeah.
Really quick tips of where do they start to try to figure out what to do with that or how to do it safely.
Absolutely. And I think starting when you're not traveling is the key. So if if you're going in and out of the RV with your pup, not on it like this is just it parked, you're not anywhere different.
You're in your driveway.
You're just going out there for a little bit and coming back. And it's just part of the normal routine, part of the normal day. Maybe they get an extra special treat by going inside. They're going to get used to that space and not have it. It won't be the trauma of going into a new thing. Now it's on the road. Now it's moving, and now I'm in a new place. You can at least break that down a little bit and take your pup for some rides. Go through some drive-throughs, get a puppuccino, just get them used to being on the road so they don't have that motion sickness.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And for the experience of being outdoors, find a pet-friendly park to
Absolutely.
have them learn how to take walks on a leash,
Right.
Around other animals and people.
Yeah.
I think just making sure they're properly microchipped and can be identified is really important because losing your pet when you're at home is bad, but losing your pet when you're across the United States and you're traveling and you can't stay here for very long. Just do it.
Yeah. Microchip is the best way to do that.
Yeah.
And having a phone number connected to it that's going to travel with you.
Oh, actually completing the
Yeah.
registration?
Oh.
Do you find a lot of that? People microchip them, but then the info isn't good?
Absolutely.
Really?
Right. At
All
our
right.
shelter, we do both. We'll insert the chip and then we immediately collect your information and register it.
Yeah, but if you move or you change
you
phone
move,
numbers,
you
or
need
it's
to-
your home phone and you travel with your cell.
Right. You
Wow.
need to
Didn't think of
update
that.
that with the manufacturer.
Okay. You got to track your microchip.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Well, any other advice for people traveling with pets?
Crate training, because the crate can go with you. If the crate is their safe space, if they get fed in their crate, if they get special stuff in their crate, then wherever that crate goes, that's their special place and it will travel with them. So that's another
that's
great
cool.
thing. Yeah. And it keeps them safe if you have to go out or run an errand or something. It keeps them safe and confined in a place that they feel comfortable.
All right. Now I'm gonna flip it a little bit. Do you have specific advice for someone traveling with their new cat?
With their new cat.
Because
how fun.
more and more of them
Yeah.
are out there
You
in their
see
RVs.
lots
I've
of
seen a lot of cats
Yeah.
camping.
Yeah.
I would say leash train. They have harnesses, they have leashes. I've done it. It's awesome to leash train a cat.
Really?
Yeah.
I would think one of my sayings is, today was like herding cats. So leash training a cat, I'm sure every cat's different.
You
but
trained a cat to go to the bathroom in the toilet.
I did, but that was my cat and my toilet. And I had lots of time.
So I'm pretty sure if you can teach a cat that, you can leash train him. Just certain cats though. Like my cat, I can't even, that's not ever going to happen. And I have to be okay with that. I am not even going to try to force this cat to walk on a leash.
Well,
Right, yeah.
but to back up, you have a shelter cat who was petrified of its own shadow.
I know, my cat's a big
So-
old baby, but also grumpy. Not for my cat.
Well,
But
your cat's not a good travel cat.
my cat's not a good anything cat. She's barely a cat.
Makes her an excellent cat.
I'm so glad that you love your cat, Lindsay.
I do love her and all the things she can't do. She's real good at laying there.
I'm sure she's great at passing judgment.
Oh gosh, she is good at that. How'd you know?
Because you just explained it.
Because she's catty.
But yeah, so know your animal. And I think that might be hard even for dogs with people who have this new sense of, I'm going to get an animal, I'm going to get a trailer, we're going to have adventures together.
Right.
Because I know that's what a lot of people are thinking. But you have to make sure that your animal is right for traveling. And I think dogs can be persuaded a lot easier than cats. Just my 2 cents.
Well, if you have an animal that you would like to travel with, is it fair to say you could call your county shelter and figure out if there's a trainer that could work with them and get them crate trained, or help you with walking your cat on a leash or things like that? I mean, is that something a trainer could help you with?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah. And I would recommend one who uses positive reinforcement so that nothing is scary. We don't
Jinx.
create any fear. We're creating a really positive experience all around travel. Because think about how much you've been thinking and dreaming about hitting the road and saving the funds and, going to the lot and purchasing.
Yeah,
right?
your animal got to do none of that.
None of that. So you need to back it up.
You just threw him in this thing.
And as much as you've been planning and wishing and reaching those goals and those milestones, you need to afford that same timeline to your pets.
It's a good way of thinking about it.
Yeah, it really is. Well, gosh, I love the fact that shelters have taken on a whole new, I don't know what's the word, a whole new way of operating.
Yeah.
That could really help us. I mean, for the rest of shelterability. of
Absolutely.
animals. I don't know how to say that.
What are you saying even?
I don't know. Going forward, the
so
world
weird.
has changed.
The world
and I'm
has
glad it
changed.
has changed for the good for shelters.
Yes, we got there's disaster all around, right? Let's find those little nuggets of good, of what's working well, what's bringing in everyone together in the community, together apart,
Yes.
and making it work.
If I may, things have changed so much. What has changed in how people can help the shelter? I mean, there's still going to be need for obviously volunteers of different sorts, but also donations and things like that. What is different? What helps the shelter now?
Right now, a lot of virtual or at-home type of activities is really helpful. We're doing fostering for content creators, so folks who like to make videos, take pictures, slideshows, memes. Clint needs to come and get an animal.
Hello, animal.
Come and foster.
I will make you a meme.
Take him home for 2 weeks, grab a bunch of content, and then you can use it for your portfolio, but then give it to the shelter so we can blast it on our pages and get that animal adopted.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's a minimal amount of coming to the shelter and having to go back and forth, but you're doing this significant pitch for this animal to find a home.
Yeah.
And that would be huge for any shelter anywhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everything you're saying isn't just specific to the Williamson County Regional Animal Shelter, but
Yeah.
all of them.
Grab an animal, keep them for 2 weeks, do a good playtime with them, video it, be creative.
If Michael Scott from The Office can make a movie, so can you.
That's
And
great.
it can star Rover.
That's right.
That would be
Rover
fun.
adopted.
All right, that's our challenge to everybody listening.
Yeah.
See what you
And
can
use
do.
the
Yeah.
resources at your local shelter. Because again, it's not just you guys. You're amazing and awesome. And I think all shelters have those resources. And a lot of people just don't know about them.
Right.
So if you're having trouble training or figuring out what dog is right for you or figuring out what to do with a dog.
Or you say your pet can't travel, you may need some help.
Yeah.
Sure. Or if you're that resource, if you know you have that skill or that business,
Ooh, there you go.
contact your local
Get
shelter.
on the list.
So that way
People can.
people can get routed
connected.
your way
Yeah.
and get connected and save those little lives from coming into the shelter.
Well, we're all looking for things to do when we have some downtime. And especially since, a lot of the outdoor activities we can't do, the world's changed. Now we have more ideas of how we can contribute.
You can go camping and snuggle puppies.
There you go. Perfect. Perfect.
And by puppies, I mean senior dogs. They're all puppies to me.
Still puppies.
They're all puppies.
Perfect.
Misty, it's been too long since we've seen you, and thank you for coming in and podcasting with us again. I think that over and over again, pets and campers, it always makes sense.
Yep.
It does.
So we'll keep on reaching out to you, And
Yeah.
we'll try to get back over there and do some creative things for your dogs.
Yeah, we want you back. The dogs want you back for sure.
They want you back.
It's all about the dogs. I miss
All
the
about the
dogs.
dogs.
I miss every Wednesday just coming back to work and being like, well, I'm covered in hair.
And that's not a bad
I don't
thing.
smell too good anymore. Yay. No, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Well-
dog's going to get a home for it.
Yes.
Well, now that we preached to everybody else to do their part, we need to go do what we can do, because that's something that we can do.
We can create a
So
Michael Scott office movie.
That's
With a
right.
dog. Do
So-
it.
Yes.
I get to
All
watch The Office.
all right. So we'll be back, Misty. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank
Misty.
you.
Thank you. Hey, it's really good to hang out with Misty again. We've missed her too much, and it's just not fair that we don't get to hang out with
I
the
know.
dogs. At least it has been crazy for other people, not just the RV industry, but crazy in a great way for, in particular, Misty and her mission at the animal shelter. They are seeing more fosters. They're seeing more engagement through, like I said, fosters, but also adoptions. It sounds like they are learning new ways to reach out and connect people with animals in need.
Yeah,
It's
I feel
really
like
cool.
there's a lot of things you could do with your spare time now. You know, you have a lot of different options, and a lot of people are choosing to bring a new animal into their home, and I think that's a really good way to spend all that extra time.
Yeah, especially families if they have kids who aren't.
Stop baking sourdough bread. Just adopt a dog.
Adopt a dog.
Bake more sourdough bread and bring it by. We are happy to help you with overflow.
But really, I think it's one of the best things you can do with your time, and it sounds like a lot of people are doing that, and it's really, really awesome.
You know,
Yeah.
about 80% of the people that travel in RVs, at least in the past, traveled with an animal.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I would. Yeah.
And how many people come in here with a dog and say, yeah, he's a rescue? I mean,
Yeah, like everyone.
tons of rescue dogs. It's hard to imagine that there's still any left, because every RVer comes in and so many of them are rescues.
So this is a plug. Everybody, please spay and neuter your dogs.
Yes, make Bob Barker happy.
Whoa.
What? That's what he likes, right?
That's what he likes. That's what he's into.
If that's what you're into. That's his thing. Stop. It is. I hear him say it a lot.
If you aren't connected, if you do need companionship, check them out. Check out any foster near you and see if they have need of a foster. You know, a 1 or 2 week commitment. Maybe it'll turn into longer. Maybe it's exactly what you need to isolate and still get through with a smile on your face.
Great. You talked me into it.
Sweet.
Now I need another dog.
Yes. That's it for me, PJ.
That's it for me. I'm ready to go pick out a puppy.
I'm still looking for my newt.
Yeah.
You're so
Yeah.
weird.
You have to look close. It's small. It's minute.
You wouldn't even have like a tank for it. You would just like let it roam around your house.
Yeah.
And you'd call it
because
and
every
it
few
would come.
days you'd be like, oh, there he is.
What's up, Ned?
I'm afraid my cats would find him.
Yeah, they would.
Worse yet, my son.
Oh yeah, he definitely would.
And he tries to play gently. He just doesn't because he's not yet two.
He's a tiny tank. Well, until next time, when we can find something else crazy to talk about.